This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming the man, the myth, the legend, James Balsamo. James harkens back to indie horror filmmakers from the 80s and 90s, like Fred Olen Ray, David Dakota, Jim Wynorski, Kevin Tenney, and even Todd Sheets, who's been on the show, who's been, making, 5, indie horror films a year since like the late 90s or whatever. And James is coming on. We're going to talk about his career a little bit and his love for horror. He's made I Spill Your Guts, Cool as Hell, and its sequel, Cool as Hell 2, Killer Waves, Catch of the Day, From Dusk Till Bong. That's a funny title. It Wants Blood. It Wants Blood 2, so many, Balsamo Beach, I've never seen any of these movies, but Greg Gilbert's been interviewing him for years, so I thought it was about time to have him on as well. I met him at Sinister Creature Con back in June. We'd been Facebook friends for like 5 years, and I thought it was time to meet him, and now I think it's time to have him on the podcast, And so it'll be a great conversation today. This is the last show recorded for Halloween, October. Night of the Demons doubleheader will be dropped later tonight, with Kathy Podwell coming on for the 4th time and Hal Havens in a rare exclusive. And that's going to be awesome. Halloween, October is so freaking awesome. It's done now, It's been a great month, and wait till you see who I've got tomorrow. Turkey November is going to be kicked off, and it's going to be friggin' extraordinary. I promise. So yeah, here is my interview with James Balsamo. Hey James, welcome to the show. Happy Halloween. How are you today?
Happy Halloween! Do you know where vampires keep their beer?
No, I don't know where they keep their beer.
In the Dracula!
The Dracula. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for finally coming on, man. This is great.
Yeah.
So, going back in time, what you started gravitating toward acting first, early on, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so you were doing like school plays and community theater and all that?
Exactly.
Yeah. What actors were you influenced by?
Honestly, Kane Hodder, Robert Englund. I really wanted to be a horror actor since I was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't know how to find it until I got into college and I learned how to make my own damn movies when I started interning for Trauma.
Wow, so you just wanted to be a straight-up horror guy. You weren't influenced by Brando or Olivier or any of those guys.
You know what I think is such an interesting story is that, so many actors looked up to Brando,
yeah.
And then you heard all these, like, war stories of people getting to work with Brando,
yeah.
And, he was reading cue cards. Like, in The Godfather,
yeah.
Brando was reading cue cards.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I always think that's, like, so fascinating. Like, you're like, wow, you're so brilliant. It's like, well, I know how to read a cue card, and I can emote from that. So, talent, but at the same time, you know what I mean? It was a job, so.
Yeah, I mean.
But it's great that he was able to inspire so many people. But I was inspired by, slasher films, so.
Right. Well, I think every overhyped, god of acting, it becomes, a shell of themselves later in life, and then you start finding out stuff like that,
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, think about Sir Anthony Hopkins in one of those Transformer sequels. Right. I mean, that might be one of his best bodies of work.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Anthony Hopkins.
I'm saying this facetiously, of course.
Yeah. Well, Anthony Hopkins, I mean, he had 30 years, of paying his dues before he won the Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, and then
Sure.
everything he's done.
Magic's a brilliant movie. Did you ever see Magic with the dummy?
Oh, God, I love Magic. I tried to get a guest for it for this month, and I couldn't do it. Yeah. Are you born and raised in New York?
I am, yeah. I'm from Queens, New York originally, but I live in sunny California now.
Yeah, I envy you. I wanted to move to LA for years, but the economy's always been fucked up. And just it gets more and more expensive over there.
I get it.
So you attended the Strasberg Institute in New York.
I did.
Yeah. Any classmates we would know?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I did go to school with one of the kids from Dream Street, though. The very unpopular boy band.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Like, were you going to school with him, during the height of the success?
Yeah, I was actually going to school with him, right before he got picked up to do Dream Street. It was funny because he was a horror kid like me, and so he hung out in my circle of friends, and he used to wear fangs to school. Every other day, he would have fangs and contacts, and then it was like, hey, did you hear Chris got this gig to be in this new boy band? And then Dream Street started sweeping the sidewalks, because it wasn't the Nation. It was more or less a crosswalk here or there, but they were popular for a hot 15 seconds.
I'm sure the teachers were always telling him, take those fangs out.
Yeah, they were, actually.
Yeah, especially in New York, it's no nonsense over there.
Yeah.
So you studied Shakespeare.
I have, and I've shaken spears.
Have you done Hamlet on stage?
I have done Hamlet. There's the rub.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet, Henry VIII, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I like Richard III. That's actually my favorite. A horse! A horse! My kingdom for a horse.
That's a good one, yeah.
I liked theater, but I always wanted to do horror movies. So even though, I have a strong theater background, and I really enjoyed it, and I know how to project because of theater and, emote. And really, in my films, I really kind of play it big, like old kind of vaudeville, because it comes from that theater background.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's a lot of my acting style because of theater. But I like movies, so.
Yeah, I think guys like Herschel Gordon Lewis and Joel Reed, I think they were definitely influenced by the old vaudeville theater stuff. When I see...
they were.
When I see, Wizard of Gore or Bloodsucking Freaks, I'm like, yeah, this was inspired by vaudeville all the way.
Well, I was lucky enough to work with both of those guys, and Joel was a friend of mine, and Herschel did a cameo in one of my movies, so
yeah.
I love both those guys.
Yeah, that's so freaking cool. I was supposed to interview Joel a month before he died, and sadly it didn't come to pass. But, yeah, I mean, I admired the guy's work in its own sick and demented way,
Sure.
So at what point in your early years did you go from wanting to act to wanting to direct?
Well, actually, directing for me came out of a necessity to wanting to star in movies. And I learned how to make my own movies because I got tired of getting rejected from auditions. Mm-hmm. And so that's something I do in my business model now. I work with people that want to star in movies, and then I produce the movie and act in the film with them so they can be the star of their own movie. And then the movie sells in Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. You can find out all this stuff at my website, jamesbalsamo.com. That's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm making a new movie with Sean Baxter called Karate Cops, Kick Justice, Fists of Mystery.
Yeah. And
we just filmed with the place kicker from the Panthers, Eddie, who won the first game of the Panthers season, and then we filmed with him right afterwards. So if somebody wants to make a movie, then contact me and let's do it. Because I've got over 157 film products out right now, and I just keep making movies.
Absolutely. Like, what was the first horror movie you saw that, like, impacted you?
It was Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Huh.
And when Jason puts that girl on the hook,
mm-hmm.
I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that guy.
Was that the Gloria Henry one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure was, right in the bar.
Yeah. Oh, I was so sad when she died. She was like on my bucket list to interview, but I never got to. Yeah. I mean, the first Friday the 13th, I think, is a slasher masterpiece. I mean, yeah, it was meant to be a Halloween ripoff, but it's the best one, let's be honest.
Right.
Like, so what are some of your favorite horror movies?
I like the weird ones like Street Trash and the Blob remake.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to work with one of the effects artists from the Blob remake, Jeff Farley. He just did one of the cockroach monsters in my new movie Karate Ghost 2 that's got Bam Margera in it, and that just premiered last weekend in North Carolina. So I went from doing that premiere to making this movie in North Carolina, and then I'll be back in LA after that. Unless somebody in North Carolina wants to make a movie, hit me up. I'm here.
I love Street Trash. Yeah, I talked to Mike Lackey about that. Are you a Slime City guy?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to Lamberson. Yeah, I just talked to him the other day.
Awesome. Very cool.
Have you seen? Do you like Basket Case?
I love Basket Case, and Kevin's actually been in one of my films.
Yeah.
He was in a movie I did called Catch of the Day with Tony Todd, Jason Mewes, Jake the Snake Roberts, and in that scene, Jimmy Duvall, Kevin Van Hendrick from Basket Case, and John Carl Buechler Jr. were all in the same scene together with me.
John Carl, man, he was at this convention I was supposed to go to and ended up not doing it. It was like my biggest regret. I always wanted to meet him because I'm a huge Troll guy. I love Troll.
Yeah, I love Troll and Troll 2.
I know they're completely different movies, but they're both fun in their own way. I think Troll 2 is a little bit more campier.
Yeah, very campy.
Did you grow up watching USA Up All Night?
I sure did.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I discovered all the Fred Olen Ray and David Dakota and Jim Wynorski movies, It seems to me you have followed their aesthetic by making, several movies in 1 year.
It's true. I even had Jim Wynorski in one of my movies, You're Melting, with Joe Estevez. So,
did it involve him in women's breasts?
It didn't, but I do know he enjoys them as much as me.
I know. I know. It's so friggin' funny. Yeah. I mean, I love Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers and Chopping Ball and Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowl-orama. I'm sure you love those movies also.
Sure do.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you hear this a lot. I know Greg certainly told you this the first time he interviewed you. I haven't seen a James Balsamo film yet, but you've worked with so many horror legends and non-legends, many of which I've interviewed and gotten to know. So let's talk about them, starting with Lynn Lowry. How was working with her?
Well, I worked with Lynn on a few pictures. She was in my first film, Hack Job. Mm-hmm. And then we filmed another scene while we were shooting that movie for my second film, I Spill Your Guts. And then just recently, last year, she did my kids' Christmas movie, Raven Van Slender Saves Christmas, with Rob Halford from Judas Priest is also in that. Oh. So Lynn's great. I love Lynn. She's super fun, stunning. She is stunning. I remember the first time we filmed together, I was blown away. She is, gorgeous.
Yeah. So, I tried for like 3 years to get her on the podcast, and then when I finally did, it was because she didn't know that it wasn't a visual show. She thought she had to get all glamored up and stuff, and she hates doing the Zoom interviews. She'll do like maybe one a year or something like that. And I said, no, it's audio only, and she's like, okay, I'm there. So
nice.
We had a great talk. Yeah, she told me she was in Summer Stock with John Belushi and stuff. Yeah. Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman. That's got to be the holy trinity there for you.
Oh, yeah, well, Lloyd taught me every trick I know in the book. I got my start working for Lloyd Kaufman and taking out his trash. Mm-hmm. And then I took out his read all the receipts and learned how to make my own movies.
Yeah. I haven't met him yet or interviewed him yet, though, but people tell me what a character he is, and obviously he is. I mean, look at the movies he's done, you know. I'm a huge Toxic Avenger guy. Do you like the first Toxic Avenger the most than the sequels? Because some people like the first one better.
I like them all, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a real trauma fan, so I love everything that they do.
Yeah.
But I like Citizen Toxie, and I like them all. I like when they go to Japan in the second one.
Oh, that was so freaking funny. The way that freaking he puts all those, like, you know, vegetables and everything in the hot sauna when the guy's in when the sumo wrestler guy is in there. That's hella funny. He like turns him into a broth, you know. Jason Mewes.
You know his name was Eli in that. Eli Broth.
Yeah. How about Jason Mewes?
Jason Mewes is great. He's super funny and a cool guy. He's super cool.
I met him at the same Sinister Creature Con I met you at, as a matter of fact, and he was very chill, I remember. My friend had long blonde hair just like him, and they both had their hair the same way for their picture. It was all funny. E.G. Daily.
E.G. Daily is so sweet. He's amazing. I mean, Tommy Pickles herself. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. The way I met E.G. Daily, I was at a benefit for dogs, and I felt somebody brush up behind me, and I said, "Did you grab my ass?" And I turned around, and it was E.G. Daily. He said, "You're so funny," and I said, "I'm doing a new movie with Tom Sizemore. It's called The Lich. Would you like to be in it?" And there she was. She was in the movie.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people I've ever met at a convention. Just so sweet, and we take a great picture. And then she gave me this wink afterwards when she sat back down, and I was like, "Oh, I want your love, E.G." I said it, because, you know, she did that song, Say It, Say It. You know? Yeah, she's awesome. Deborah Lamb.
Oh, Deborah's so sweet. So good friends with Deborah. We always like each other's posts on, you know, the internet. Deborah's been, I think, in either one or two of my movies. She's also in that movie with E.G. Daily, The Lich. And another person that's just fun to hang out with. And, you know, she's done so many great cult classics, so I love Deborah Lamb.
Oh, yeah, Beverly Hills Vamp.
Yeah, with Eddie Deezer in my movie Toomey, The Hungry Tumor with Tom Arnold.
Oh, yeah? I haven't seen that one. Tom Arnold's been doing a lot of indie horror and a lot of low-budget indie stuff lately, I notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Deborah, yeah, she's been on here 4 times. She's so unpredictable. You never know what she's going to say, and it's so freaking awesome every time.
Yeah.
Another person like that we know is Genevieve Rossi.
Yeah, she's also been in several of my films.
I know she's one of those people that's just done several movies a year, you know, in the last decade. It's just so crazy how the indie horror scene has just, you know, built, you know, especially in New York and stuff.
Yeah.
You got to work with the amazing Jonathan. How did that come about?
I was a big fan of The Amazing Jonathan for years, and I reached out to his wife, and she set the whole thing up. It was great. I filmed with him at one of his shows, and they had a table reserved for me in the front with me and a lady friend of mine, and we had a great time. And then after the show, we filmed the movie that was also for The Lich. And, you know, I was really excited because I think Jonathan, you know, is so funny and was so funny and a lot of films I ad-libbed the dialogue, and so I ad-libbed a joke that made him laugh, and I thought that was great. You know what I mean? Like, because he had made me laugh for years, so for me to make the Amazing Jonathan laugh while him doing a cameo in one of my movies was just such an amazing moment.
Yeah, when I found out he died, I was like, no, not the Amazing Jonathan. That guy is going to live forever. I was just like, wow, it's crazy.
And he will live forever. That's what's great about film and, entertainment is that these people that are sadly no longer with us live on.
Yeah. Well, the Amazing Kreskin is still alive, and you worked with him, too.
Yeah, he's in about three of my movies. He's really fun to work with. So, and that was one that my mom got excited about, because when I used to, say something snarky, she'd be like, "Shut up, Kreskin. You think you know everything?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eric Roberts.
Yeah, Eric Roberts is also amazing, who's been in several of my films also. So
yeah, it's funny. His wife came on here solo, and then I had her come back on. And she brought Eric with her, and I was under heavy pressure. So, like, I'm asking her the prepared questions, and I'm on IMDb coming up with questions for him. I'm like multitasking and stuff, and I don't know if I did a good job, but it was a nice conversation, and they were promoting a sex toy that their friend invented called the Rocket, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm getting sex education from Eric Roberts of all people. It was funny.
Yeah.
Troy Froman's
great. I loved him on Saved by the Bell and in Darkman. So Troy's a good friend of mine, and he's in a few of my movies also.
Yeah, he was Ox on Saved by the Bell. He was so damn funny in that character, but he's funny in general, Marky Ramone.
Oh yeah, very cool. I got to have him beat me up with a baseball bat because I love that song, "Beat on the Brat" with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I met him at Monsterpalooza in 2019, and the whole weekend, walking by his table, Ramon songs are playing, like, the whole time. And so I went and met him, and as I'm getting a selfie with him, his handler is trying to get the camera to take and look better and stuff. And, like, he looks at me, and this is, like, the only thing he said to me during our interaction. "It's the lens." It's a digital phone camera, so he was just being facetious. But it was cool meeting him. John Amplis.
I mean, where's my cake?
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. I was also excited to work with John. So
Martin.
Yep, Martin himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he and I were having a conversation about that, about how, a lot of those guys out there exist, but they put, like, ads on, like, Craigslist or in the paper saying, come over and I'll suck your blood and stuff. I saw it on, like, Cold Case Files back in the day. It's really creepy.
That guy, he invited somebody over to be cannibalized, and then he killed and ate them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Bill Wheaton.
Bill Wheaton's so fun to work with. Sergeant Kabuki Man. He's in my movie Hollywood Werewolf, and so funny, really funny. Also, he's in my film Catch of the Day too. He's just a great guy, great guy, fun to work with. And I'm also in another movie with him called The Once and Future Smash. And so we were hanging out over the weekend at a convention. And super fun. That's not my movie. That's Michael Epstein's film with Neil Jones did that. But another great one.
Yeah, Bill went to, I want to say, Harvard or Yale, one of the Ivy League schools, and his classmates were Victor Miller, who wrote Friday the 13th, Phil Proctor from Firesign Theater, and Austin Pendleton, the character actor. Can you just imagine those guys all in the same class?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it could have been a barrel of laughs all day with those guys. James Lorenz.
I mean, Frankenhooker and Street Trash. So yeah, I was excited to work with James.
Not to mention the Jerky Boys.
Oh yeah, he's got such a great voice. You know.
Yeah, he's got that real authentic New York accent.
He's a sweet guy, and he texts me fun things sometimes, just like randomly weird, funny things. So I really like working with James. Great guy.
Yeah, we're like talking for 20 minutes, and then his dad calls him on his other phone line. He puts his dad on speaker, and like his dad's like interviewing me for 10 minutes, and then says good night.
Amazing.
It was hilarious. Tommy Chong.
I mean, it was really cool. I got to hang out, and we filmed in Tommy Chong's backyard at his house. And let me just say, I've never seen greener pastures.
Yeah, I got to interview him a couple years ago. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life because he's a comedy hero of mine, you know. And he basically took the interview over, but I loved every minute of it just listening to him talk, you know.
Right.
I'm sure he told stories on set, did he?
He sure did.
Yeah. I mean, he told me about, you know, he got into a fist fight with John Sebastian once of the Lovin' Spoonful. You had Bobby Clark, the Gorn on Star Trek.
It's true, yeah. I had done a convention with Bobby, and, you know, we were sitting at the same table having lunch.
Yeah.
And then I got him in Alien Danger. He's great in that, and he's holding up the Gorn head in his scene. It's really awesome.
I had him on just before the pandemic, and then I found out later another guy takes credit for playing the Gorn, Gary Combs.
Yeah. I think it's like, you know, it's like Michael Myers.
Tony Moran
like
and Nick Castle.
Yeah, I think whenever, you know, there's a lot of masked characters that do that now. I know when I make a movie and I need a quick pickup shot, I have somebody that I'm close to, I'm like, you, put the mask on. So, are they that character? Yeah, sure, they are for that moment. So, you know, whatever helps.
So, who do you want to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
I would say Tom Araya from Flair. He's on my list.
Mm-hmm. Would you work with Robert Englund?
I would. We've done a few shows together. Yeah.
Sweet guy. I think it's become expected of him now. Like every con he goes to, the promoters know they're going to be there forever because he likes to talk to every fan for like 10 minutes. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Have you turned down anybody to work with that's worth mentioning?
No. You know, if an opportunity presents itself, I try to take it up. So that's just how I am. I love making movies.
Would you work with Michelle Bauer?
I would.
I'm good friends with her. We text all the time. She's a really good friend. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you ever want to, you know, put her in a movie, let me know. I'll connect you two.
Awesome.
Do you think you'll ever run out of creativity doing as many films as you have?
Do I think what?
Do you think you'll ever run out of creativity doing as many movies as you have?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, you know, like the guys we mentioned before, Fred Olen Ray and David Dakota and Jim Wynorski, you know, once like the home video craze kind of fizzled out, they started making like, you know, family movies and like, you know, Lifetime TV movies and stuff like that. Do you see yourself doing those kind of movies in the future?
I mean, I hope so. I hope I make all sorts of weird movies. I'm always down for a movie. So whatever it is, I'm in.
Yeah. Is there any genre that you would like to do that you haven't yet?
Erotic Western.
Well, yeah, every filmmaker wants to make a Western, you know, but you want to give it kind of an erotic edge. You want to make like Hard Bounty.
Yeah, exactly, but a harder bounty.
Harder Bounty. Yeah, maybe Jim can produce it.
Exactly.
Yeah, would you ever make like a rom-com?
I would. Yeah, it's something I got in the works. So we'll see. Sure, there's lots more weird ones to come. So.
Yeah, do you have any upcoming con appearances or anything?
I just did Mad Monster in Atlanta. I think I'll be there next month.
Nice, nice. Have you done that show before?
Yeah, I've been doing Mad Monster Party for years. I love that show.
Yeah, they have one, I believe, in Arizona that my cousin goes to, and she says it's always fun. I'd like to go there someday. I think they have it like 4th of July weekend every year or something like that. But it was great, yeah, meeting you back in June at Sinister Creature Con. That was your first time doing that show, right?
No, I had actually done it a few years ago.
Oh, okay. That must have been during my hiatus when I wasn't going for a while because of the pandemic and stuff. I went not this past weekend, but the previous weekend to meet Elvira.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got to run to but the interview's been amazing. Thanks so much for the fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, James, have a happy Halloween, man, and keep on being creative.
I appreciate it. You too, brother. Happy
right,
Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Later. Well, there you have it. James Balsamo. Ain't he a cool dude? Wow, that was a journey right there in just 30 minutes. Yeah, we're on kind of a time crunch because he's got a lot going on. I think he's on location or something right now, and so we had a little bit of a time crunch there. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes. Happy Halloween.